Drone here, and this is the black Aviax from GP Toys, and we have a blown motor. So the first thing we need to do, we need to determine which motor is blown, and the easiest way to do that is by sticking a battery in her, and she will light, and then just flip her over. You don't need to put that battery in the compartment because we are not flying. Then just make sure everything else, including other drones, is free of the blades. You are going to turn it on. It self-binds, and then we are going to throttle up. Moving, 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 not moving. That's your bad one. So we're going to turn this off. We're going to take the battery out, and then the first thing that we will need to do is, you see that screw in there? We're going to have to remove the propellers, and in order to do so, let's take the screws out there. So we're going to do that, and then the following thing that we're going to have to do, we're going to have to open the shell up. And the way we do that is, if you can see on this arm, you have screw here, screw here, screw here, screw here. Go down the body and remove your screws. The best thing to have when you are doing this is a magnet. And why would you want a magnet? Well, quite simply so you don't lose screws. Take the screw out, put it on the magnet. Also, you can magnetize your screwdriver. It sticks, and the magnetic charge will stick to that for a while, and then they'll stick to this, and then you can stick them to that. So let's get started. And the propeller ones we're just going to stick on top of this controller here. That way we don't lose them. It's right there. And now you can pull that off. There we go. So we're just going to go all the way around and do that. And as you can see, when you do that, your large gear will fall out. So if you can see here, that's where your large gear goes. Large gear pushes in there. Top thread, which is here, you have a hole, and that's what the propeller slides in, and that's what the screw slides through. And this essentially is the bottom of your motor. So that is what we will be taking out once we open up the shell. But we're going to take that out, and we're going to set it elsewhere. Okay, and for some reason this one does not seem to be threading out. Had to go away from the camera for a minute, but the screw that was not threading out easily, it was coming out like a ½ an inch, and then it was just twisting, twisting, twisting. All you gotta do is, when you get it, just give it some tension, pull, get it out where it's going to stop, and then just keep on twisting again. And again, you're going to pull this up, and your gear, as you see, it's sliding. There's nothing to hold it. So that's going to come out. These gears are interchangeable. It doesn't really matter where you put them. And again, I'm just setting stuff on this controller over here. I have the 2 screws, and I have the 2 gears. We're going to continue to take these propellers off, and I'm going to do that away from the camera just so save some time for you guys. Alright, here we go, guys. You see the quad does not have any propellers on, and I've stuck all the gears that fall out when the propellers aren't on over here, just as well as the screws, because those screws, I do believe, are different from the body screws. Now, I did not mark which motor was blown, but I did record it, so I kind of cheated and went back, and it's this one. So, looking at the toy, it says Black Aviax, or it says Aviax GP Toys. It's the one to the right. So this is the motor that needs to come out and needs to be replaced. I'm going to try to do this a little bit easier than I do believe I was going to do it. By just taking the screws out of this arm, I should be able to lift up and have the motor drop out the side and be able to switch it from the side, pry back open, and pop it back in. We'll see. I've been able to do that with this guy, which is, bam, the Striker that's heavily worn and heavily beat up. This was my second quadcopter I ever owned, and this guy sat outside for a while and took a beating. It's a very good quadcopter, but I've had to change the motors on that already. So let's see here. See if we can do this easily. Again, what you're doing, there's 4 screws. 1, 2, let's put this up a little. Bam, you should be able to see. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there are no body screws here. And there is no screws on the front, or is there? There is. There's 1 screw here. So we're going to take that out. And then we are going to take the body screws out. Most of these quadcopters give you these screwdrivers. For any reason that you don't have a screwdriver or you lost it, because they are pretty tiny, and I've lost a bunch of them. I have a bunch of quadcopters. I should have a ton of these screws. And bam. Small screw. Magnet. It's there. You don't got to worry about it. So that's out. Now we're going to work to the body screws. But if you do lose these small screwdrivers, you can go to like a Dollar General or a dollar store and pick up a precision set like this, where they're going to give you like 3 or 4 different ones, and then you'll be able to figure out what size you need. So again, just taking the body screws out here. And are we on the right arm? Yes, we are on the right arm. Because again, I'm going to try to avoid taking the entire shell off, and once you get it so far, you should be able to pull up on it. But I do believe I just reset it in the hole. Me rubbing that against the magnet should have this magnetized. And let's see. Rubby, rubby, rubby. And there you go. See that? Magnetizes. And we'll just stick it there. It's a little trick that if you don't have like a magnetized magnet, you can kind of magnetize it. Obviously that won't last forever. You'll have to continually keep touching it, but it helps, especially with little things like this. And if you hear it clicking like that, it's probably out. It's probably just being very stubborn. And let's see here. I can use this. Possibly. No, it's being real stubborn. So let's try this one more time. So I do believe it's unthreaded. Yeah. And she fell. So if it won't come out and you can't grab it with something, just give it a little tap. Make sure you are over a surface that is fairly clean, which you can see this entire surface area here is pretty clean. There's not crumbs or anything or other screws laying around, and that way you can find it quickly. And again, magnet, I say, is essential, because if you have a bunch of screws on a flat surface, especially a granite or a marble surface, kind of like what I'm using, they're going to roll around. And here, I'm going to magnetize that. And almost got it. Bam. Got it. And then we're just going to drop it right there. If you're using an extremely slick, smooth surface like I am, chances are they're going to roll around. And if you forget where your screw pile is and you accidentally whoosh something or drop a tool on it, chances are you're going to have screws all over the place. And this one's going to give us issues like the last one. I do believe I can get at it though. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. And then again, we're just going to magnetize this, and we're going to pick that guy up, which actually I believe it's sticking to the motor a little. The motors are magnetic. There you go. So let's see if we can pop this open. I think I see another problem here that we're not going to be able to do. No, we'll be able to pop it open. What I was thinking about here is there's a hole right where that small gear is. It looked like this wouldn't fit through it, but I'm pretty sure it'll fit through it. So we're going to pop this open. Oh, wow. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Okay. So maybe I didn't even need to undo that. See what we got here? Alright. Need to figure out what we need to do here. As you can see, I haven't done this before on this quad. I've done it on other quads. Alright, we're going to see if we can push the motor down and out. It's a decent sized motor in there. It's not extremely tiny. Wow. They probably actually sell this entire piece. They just pop back in. Don't want to break any wires off. Definitely want that off. Alright guys, what I'm going to try to do off camera is, see that silver part? That's your motor. That's attached to your gear. I'm going to try to push this down and get that to slide out. Alright, as you can see, the two wires are sticking out the bottom. That's what you're going to connect your new motor to. I'm going to figure out how to get that motor out of this base, and then when I do, I'll let you know how I did it. Then we'll get our new motor in. Okay guys, I believe this actually locks in place. You can see right here, that is the motor, and it still won't come out. What I've done here, I've taken a precision screwdriver, I've taken the tip off it to go over that piece in there. We're just going to put that on there, put the end of this on a flat surface, and let's move this so you can see a little bit better. Sorry about that. And we'll move this back. Bam. And then I'm going to take a big old hammer. It's out. This is your motor. Again, I suggest you hold on to it for the little gear that's on there. They're handy to have, to buy one of these. Somebody on eBay is going to charge you like $7 to $12. So hold on to that. Jadron the Magician. Now it's orange. Now, this is the H2O Aviax. We're going to use this to pull motors off of. Two motors are bad. We're going to do the same thing. We are going to plug a battery into her. Bam, we have lights. And we are going to take our controller, which this isn't stock controller. I have an actual antenna modded onto it. We're going to power up. And bam. See which ones don't work? These two don't work. These two do work. So we're going to pull the proper motor off. And you do need the proper motor. If you could see on there, it shows rotation. Rotation is going to be this way. See the little arrow? Rotation is that way. So we need rotation to be the same way, and this one, rotation is that way. So we're going to pull this one, and we'll pull this battery out. We're going to pull this. I have tried to tug on this. These won't just come out, so we're going to do the same thing, vice versa, what we just did. We're going to remove just this propeller, because I don't think you need to remove them all. And we're going to remove this screw, the 4 underneath. This should pop out. We're going to splice the wires, and I'll get back to you. Okay, guys, to show you, you did not need to take these off. My mistake in the beginning, but I'm doing this by trial. I've never done this quad before. And just go ahead and give this a little pull. And there, same thing we got going on. Now this one, we do not want to cut right at the motor. We're actually going to pop this open a bit, and if you could see in there, which I'm kind of in my own light here, I apologize. Oh, actually they do. I knew some of them did that. So okay, take that off, and they do make it easy to do it. Learning all the way around here. This comes off. So what we're going to do, we are going to snip far back here, as far back as possible to have enough wire to attach to the other wires. We're not going to run all the way in here to the board and solder it. That's the permanent way to do it. It's a good way to do it. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to splice wires together. So I'm going to snip that, and then we'll get back to you. This is where the motor came out. That's how far back I've taken the wires, because again, you want long wires. That way you don't got to play with stuff. All I'm going to do is I'm going to snip that. And actually I could do that on camera. Here. I'm just going to take these, and we are going to snip. Bam. That's what we're going to install. And actually this entire thing is what we're going to install. So essentially the motor that came out of here really didn't need to, but we will keep this in case we ever break one of these. We could switch them back over. Very quickly, there is a nub in here. You see that nub right there? For reassembly of your other drone, if you do take this piece off to make it easier, that nub's going to have to go in that center piece. And basically, I believe we would just lift up here, put that in there, lift up, drop down, clip all the way around, bam. And as you can see, it's back together, nothing's broken. The manufacturer was kind to do that for you. I didn't know they did that, but so unscrew this, take the propeller off, pop that off, and you could take the motor up straight through there. Very nice of the manufacturer. Okay, again, we're not soldering here, we're just splicing, then we're going to electrical tape. I've done this before, it does work, no issue. Soldering is kind of permanent. The way I splice and remove stuff from wires, go up with the flame, grab it, and bam. Can you see that? It's exposed. That's what you're going to splice to the other wire. And again, we'll do it again very quickly. You don't need special tools for this. Grab a lighter, go back pretty far, warm that up. This is kind of warm, so be careful. But bam, you see the exposed wire? That's what you need. You need exposed wires to connect to one another. Now this, we're going to do the same thing we learned on the orange Aviax. We're going to pull this bottom piece down. We're going to take our finger and we're going to push down, and bam, that comes off. Now this, we're going to do the same thing we did with the orange Aviax. We are learning here. We're going to try to grab both those wires, which we have, and we're going to pop the shell upwards, and bam. See? We have lots of wire to play with. We're going to splice that just like we spliced the other ones. So we are going to grab here, we are going to take our lighter, and we are going to go right there, and then we are going to pull off. Bam, exposed wire. We're going to do that again. Black one's going to be a little bit hard to see on this camera, but you should see it once the lighter hits it. Straighten the wire out, hit it back here, and bam, you have exposed wires. Now all we're going to do is we are going to, I'll try to do this on camera. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do the entire thing on camera. I might need a little bit more room here, but we're going to take the white wires to the white wires, black wires to the black wires. You don't want to cross them. So all we're going to do is take them, spin them together really well. Spin them together really well. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay? And we have more than enough room. More than enough room there. So extra wire is good. And if you can see here, it's tight. I'm lifting the entire quad with the splice I just did. That's not going to come undone during flight. Let's do the black. And we're just going to take that. I'm going to kind of go at the end and twist them together. You don't need to know how to solder to fix your drone. If you do know how to solder, you could solder these wires together. You could solder them to the board. But this is the easiest way possible with the littlest knowledge as possible. You've seen me. I've used a set of snips. Off camera, I used a set of cutters for the wires and also to get the screws out that would not come out. Screwdriver, another screwdriver, and to tap that motor out, which I did not need to do, I hollowed out a precision one and tapped it out, and I also used a hammer. So that's all you need. You don't need special tools to do this, guys. We're going to tape this up off cam, and then we're going to put this back in there. We're going to put this on top of it, and then we'll see if it works. Okay guys, I quickly wrapped that. As you can see, it's not precision wrapped, but I promise you that flat wrap that I did on it will offer spacing between the two wires, and two, there's a lot more insulation on them wires than the factory put on it. So all we're going to do, we're going to shove these wires in here, get them going there, or maybe, yeah, no, they need to go in there first before you put that in there. So get your wires back. Wires are back. We're going to put that in there, push the wires back some more, and that just dropped. Let's get that to stay in there. Come on. There. Come on. What's going on here? Okay, that probably sits on that nub, maybe. I don't know. Or no, it sits right in there. There's a little groove in there that arm will sit on. That's what needs to go on there. There, we've replaced the motor. You're gonna take this again. There's a little nub inside here. That little hole. Can you see that little hole? Sorry about that. Kind of hard to see. I apologize. There, see the little hole there? That little hole is gonna have to fit in that nub. So you are going to essentially put this where it needs to go, and you're gonna lift up on this part of the shell, which is easier said than done. And I'm trying to do this on camera for you guys. Put that in there, get that to drop, and make sure that's in the right place. Snap this all back together. What we lose? We lost a gear. Well, we didn't lose a gear, but okay. Alright, thick insulated wire is sticking out the side here. We're going to go ahead and push that in there and snap all this back together. And again, that insulated wire is kind of sticking out there, so we're going to try to shove that back in. I'll be right back with you. There you go, guys. She's back together. We're going to throw the propellers on. Again, remember, Aviax. Right side up, it was this one. The one to the right, we're going to throw the propellers on, see if all the blades will spin, and then maybe get her in the air. Really quickly, guys, remember, you're going to have to take these gears, you're going to have to put them up through, put them in the hole, put them up through. You're actually going to have to hold that. You're going to have to match up the little tiny hole on there with the little tiny hole above my finger there, and throw the screwdriver to the screw and screw it in. We're going to do that off camera. You also need to make sure these blades are on correctly. B will cross with B, and an A propeller will cross with an A propeller, and the blades should be opposite to one another. And they shouldn't be the same type of pitch on each side. They should be opposite to one another. So we're going to get that done. And if you have a hard time figuring that out, mark your blades. And it'll make it easier for you. Maybe mark A, B, C, D, and mark A blade, B, C, D, etc. Alright guys, I got all propellers on, and when you are screwing this in, you want to hold under here, and you want to hold on top here. The screw here should go in easily. If it's not going in, you do not have the holes from the shaft to this matched up, take it out, realign them. And we're going to throw a battery in this and see if it fires. Get our battery here and throw it in. We have light. And again, you don't need to put that in. You're testing the motors. Grab the proper controller. We are going to turn on. I haven't done this yet, so I don't know that it's going to work, but let's move this out of the way. Did not work. Maybe we actually blew the board. Yeah, that's what the Aviax looks like from inside without the cap on it. This one's still not spinning. I have a motor on it. It's still not freaking spinning. I don't know why. Connection itself seems fine. Maybe it's actually where these connect. It's blown on the board. I don't know. I'm kind of baffled here. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I'm J-Drum. Thanks for watching. Typically what I just did would work for a blown motor, but I oversurged this drone with a 7.4 volt. It's 3.7 volts, so maybe I screwed up something on the board for this section, because this is a good motor. We tested this motor before we put it on, and I've squeezed the connections here, and I'm not getting anything, which is odd. But yeah, guys, definitely think it's something with the board. So actually what we're going to do, we're going to take the 3 good working motors on this, we're going to go ahead and put it on the H2O Aviax, and maybe the motor that was on this isn't done, but we're going to see if we can get the Aviax running, because obviously this is a lost cause. The board's probably fried, at least that part of the board. This motor is the one we took off of this. We put on the black Aviax. We have it back on it. And as obviously it's not secure, but there you go. The motor works. Obviously the board screwed up on the black Aviax. We're going to try to get this up in the air and just show you again. It works. So the board's definitely screwed up on the black Aviax. We're going to get this in the air. Alright, check it out, guys. H2O Aviax. These 2 motors were working. These 2 motors were dead. We took this off, tried to put it on the black Aviax. I think the board's fried on that side, so we put it back on here. We also took 2 motors from the Aviax, because it had 3 working motors, put it back here, and I also put the covers on here and the black propellers, just to give it some identity, and also a little bit better for visual orientation. And here we go. Bam! There you go, guys. It works. These motors are from the Aviax. These are original to the H2O Aviax, and we have a working quad. I wanted to get the Aviax working. I couldn't, so I got this working. And oh well, you have 2 H2O Aviax. How do we know you didn't just switch parts? Well, there's the other one. That's the brand new one that I have, that I've only flown a couple times, and this is the one that we were tearing parts off, putting new parts on. I'm J-Drum. Hope this helps somebody, and have a good day. Take care. Just to show you, she does fly, guys.